I came to Virginia City to take part in the PEX 2022, which was fantastic. But one of the things I wanted to do while here was visit the grave of Henry and John Jones, and their story was something that caught my interest, I guess you would say, because I had seen a video done by a friend of mine, Jason Spencer, who has a channel called The Cemetery Road. He went to Gold Hill Cemetery, showed all the stones. Very nice video. If you want to watch it, I'll put the link in the description below. And he told the story of Henry and John, and it fascinated me, so I did a little bit more research on it, and I found out a few things. I did ask some of the locals in town about the story about the boys, and some of them were aware, well, a lot of them were aware of the story, but one lady in particular had worked for a long time at the Gold Hill Hotel, and she said that the story is a little off, that in fact the boys were staying at the Gold Hill Hotel at the time that they were asked to go and deliver a cow to a neighbouring property, and that is how they got lost and henceforth died. But different stories, same result either way, no matter what the story was. The little boys did do as they were told. They did go to deliver the cattle, the cow, whatever it is, but they took the wrong road, which led to them getting lost. And being December, it was freezing, and that's exactly what happened to them. The little boys froze to death in the snow. They had a horse with them. The horse stayed with their body, and that is how the boys were found, with the horse standing over their body. So very sad, and the boys were buried here. But the terrible thing is that in doing the research, I realised that Robert and Jane, the parents, were actually immigrants. They'd come out from England. Robert was a miner, and he worked in Virginia City. I don't know which mine he worked in, but he did. They had other children, and 6 years later, in 1877, their son George and their daughter Cora caught diphtheria and passed away. So that was very sad. They both died around the same time and were buried out with the boys, with Henry and John. So that was 4 children lost to Robert and Jane. But it wasn't to stop there, because the following year, their newborn baby, Alice, she was about 7 months old, she also passed away, which in itself was horrific. She too is buried with the boys. Then, just to make it even more horrific, a couple of months later, in September of the same year, their daughter Diana, who was 14 years old, also died. Records indicate that it was at her own hand, so she took her own life, which is incredibly sad. And when looking at all of this and reading the family story, it's sad to know that this wasn't like an isolated thing. Obviously, the way that the boys died may have been, and the way that Diana died may have been, but it wasn't unusual for families to lose this many children. So a horrifically sad story, and when I go back to Virginia City, which I intend to, I want to visit the grave again and leave some more tributes to the other children that also lay there. And the parents themselves, Jane and Robert, are actually buried in Reno. So they're not buried at Gold Hill, so they're in the Mountain View Cemetery at Reno. I might even try to get to visit them. So I hope you enjoyed my little story and my little offering, and until next time, goodbye.